As I've been following along online the last couple of weeks, whether it be with the Pro Farmer Tour, Twitter in general, or even on Facebook, I've seen that some of you out there have some developmental issues when it comes to the corn ears that we've got going on out in our fields this year. Whether that goes back to planting issues, poor emergence issues, the drought, the heat stress during pollination, or whatever the entirety of the situation is this year, it doesn't change the fact that we have some small ears, we have some poorly placed ears, and we definitely have some ears with pollination issues on them. So, what does that mean going forward? As we look forward here in about a month, we've got a challenge on our hands of capturing those ears into the combine to be the most profitable that we can. But how we get there needs to be evaluated. What is the most fiscally prudent way that we can capture these ears and maintain our profitability going forward? I'm Keith Byerly, Precision Ag Manager at Central Valley Ag, and this is your Precision Focus that corresponds with my article on the CVA blog site. So really, in my opinion, there are three ways that we can manage and address the issue of ear challenges out in our field when it comes to a harvestability standpoint. Option number one is fairly simple. We shut down our deck plates a little bit and we try our best to get those ears into the combine. That also comes with some challenges, however. As we close down those deck plates, we know we're going to run more trash through the combine, and when it's all said and done, the extra trash is probably going to mean that we send a lot of those kernels that we capture in addition right out the back of the combine, and we don't really gain any fiscal advantage. So I'm not sure that's the best way we can address some of the challenges we see. There we go to option number two then. Option number two is to harvest some of this corn early, especially those acres that we have challenges on, to get it into the combine and have our best chance for capture. Going out there while our moisture is still in the 20s allows us the opportunity to definitely have less header loss going into the combine, and more green matter on the plant means that it's going to harvest a little bit better into our corn head. The flip side of that is we know we're going to spend a little bit more fuel chewing through some wet corn. We know we're going to haul some water away, and we know we've got to manage it once it gets to the bin. But shrink is shrink. Mike Zwingman's talked about the economics and the reasons why we harvest before. I'm not going to delve any farther into that option, but I think that's probably one of the most fiscally responsible ways that we can address the challenges we see right now. But then there's option number three. For those of us that don't have the choice or the place to go with some wet corn, we still need a way to capture some of those developmentally challenged ears. And something like the 360 Yield Saver is an option that we can employ to do that. The idea behind the 360 Yield Saver is to place these brushes on our chain units to help cushion the blow against those deck plates and have less ears fall through the deck plates, but capture more of that shatter loss on top of those brushes and drag it into the combine. Now, to be realistic, we also have to address the fact of just because we get those kernels into the combine doesn't mean that they go into the tank. We need to be realistic with the factor of how many of those kernels, what percent, actually makes it into the tank versus going out the back when we have a scenario, especially as we start talking about those small kernels out on the tip of the ear that are going to be the driest and most prone to shattering. But if we look at the economics of a system like this, somewhere around a bushel to a bushel and a quarter of corn in addition per acre will pay for hardware like this. So my take home for today is simply this. I challenge you to go out to your fields on your own or with your FSA and begin to look at your acres. Do all of your acres have a spattering of developmentally challenged ears, or do you have one or two fields in particular that are worse off than some of those other acres? Look at those acres realistically and then work forward to determine what you could potentially capture. If that number starts to be 5 to 6 bushel an acre on some of those acres, I guarantee that the 360 Yield Saver will pay for itself in one season. If not, you may need to stretch it out over to 1,500 to 1,800 acres to capture the savings with a bushel or a bushel and a half, but it is there. I know not many of you want to spend any more money on this year's crop, but if it's the difference between adding to your bottom line or not, it may still be fiscally responsible. Talk to your ACS equipment specialist about yield savers and what our potential is to increase the profitability on your farm this season.